Sometimes I do ask myself whether it's better to not do an immediate post-match review straight after the game, and then maybe wait till I get home to watch the highlights of the game before offering my opinion. You see, there's so much more you can see from watching the game on TV than by being at the match itself. And when Paul Wiggy and I did our post-match review on Saturday, it was one of being a little bit down, suggesting that the goals that we conceded were a bit soft and that we flattered Liverpool. Well, we got some aspects of our review right, maybe not all. And having watched the highlights, I guess I can offer a bit more of an all-rounded opinion. But before I do that, if you're new to the channel, or if you've watched the West Ham Voice before and yet to become a subscriber, you can do so. If you click on the QR code that's appearing in the top corner, you can subscribe to the channel free of charge. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button and also the hype button, which allows other people to watch the video. You kind of promote it on my behalf. If you're feeling generous, you can become a member of the channel at $1.99 a month. You get additional content, which all that money goes to Prostate Cancer UK. But anyway, if nothing else, click on that QR code, become a West Ham Voice subscriber, which is free. Anyway, let's get back to it. I guess Anfield produced a 5-2 scoreline that looked quite brutal, to be honest. I've seen some West Ham headlines suggest it was humiliating, but was it? Was it really? However, all is not lost. With the defeat suffered by Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday, it means that the 10 games we now have left in the Premier League, all is the same down at the bottom of the league. We haven't been cut adrift any further. We're still only 2 points behind Nottingham Forest, and we're still only 4 points behind Tottenham Hotspur. And the numbers, the stats of the game against Liverpool kind of don't tell the whole story. We created quite a lot of chances. We had spells of control, and we were undone by a combination of unlucky deflections and some set-piece frailties. We had 51% possession of that game away from home. That's not too bad against a team like Liverpool. We had 4 direct chances. We had a number of other chances. We were just unlucky on the day. But Liverpool's 3 corner-related goals exposed a recurring weakness. Yet again, West Ham left Anfield with reasons for a little bit of concern but some cautious optimism as well. Hugo Ekitike's opening goal inside the first 5 minutes kind of set the scene, really. It was a failed clearance from a corner. It was a soft goal, and Hermansen should have done an awful lot better to cover his near post. I've said on many occasions, Hermansen's reach doesn't have the reach, and that's a concern going into our final few games. Liverpool added goals from set play and open play, whilst West Ham replied with a really, really good goal scored by Thomas Soucek and a header on the near post by Tati Castellanos. It showed that we could hurt Liverpool on the break and we could hurt them on our crosses as well. But without wanting to take anything away from Liverpool, 3 of their goals came from situations where West Ham failed to clear their lines, beaten in the air from corners, etc. And 2 of their goals were heavily influenced by deflections. West Ham registered several high-quality chances, but it didn't fall for us on the day. The finishing maybe was a bit unfortunate. Somerville had chances. Various other players had chances. Alisson pulled off a great save from Somerville. And the match stats showed that we were in the game. I guess at 3-1, perhaps, and fans were calling out for it, perhaps Nuno should have brought on Callum Wilson. At 3-1, we were on the up. We were certainly, going at Liverpool. And if we'd have pulled another goal back, who knows what could have happened. But it didn't happen. I guess at 3-0, maybe Nuno must have thought 3-0, the game's over. And maybe he thought, well, best preserve Callum Wilson's energy for the upcoming games against Fulham on Wednesday. I think we'll see a number of changes in the lineup on Wednesday, and I think Wilson would definitely be one of them. I think he'll be starting alongside Tati in probably a 4-4-2 formation. Look, Liverpool's corners repeatedly found space at near and far posts. West Ham's marking looked indecisive, allowing Liverpool to exploit, chances, etc. And the 3 goals from corners underline a problem that we've seen before at West Ham. We thought we'd overcome our problems on conceding goals at set pieces, but they came back to haunt us on Saturday in abundance. But having said that, Liverpool's last 7 goals have been from set pieces. So they've improved. So they exploited our weaknesses, but I thought we would have done better with clearing our lines. Look, our best player, Matthias Fernandes, yet again, I think I've said that a dozen or so times already this season. Tenacious, composed on the ball, consistently winning midfield duels. He drove West Ham forward and looked like a player who would improve any Premier League side. Look, I'm not suggesting for a minute we're going to sell him, but we've seen all the headlines, with 104 million pound losses and that we're going to have to sell players. So, of course, immediately the vultures are circling. And someone like Commanders is going to be very much sought after, whether we stay in the Premier League or not next season. Mads Manson, I've said it, his reach and reaction were questioned. His reaction in the 18-yard box were questioned. One of the reasons why Hermansen was brought back into the lineup was because he was meant to be better at commanding his 18-yard box. But we saw a bit of inconsistency from Hermansen, and I say it again. I think the three clean sheets that we've had this season, with Manson being in goal, were probably the 3 easiest clean sheets that any goalkeeper could have had this season. I'm not a fan of his. I've got to say it. I'm not a fan of his. Have I seen anything different from Hermansen that Areola can't do? Not really. His distribution was no better. He certainly didn't control his 18-yard box any better than Areola does. I know Areola is a player that sort of maybe sticks to his goal line. But in terms of shot stopping, Areola wins it for me, to be honest. I'm not suggesting for a moment that we would have won this game had Areola been in goal. But I just think like the first goal, which was really, really poor. And Areola could probably have reached that. But anyway, we move on. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we know how excellent Wan-Bissaka is at carrying the ball and offering the team width, but his defensive reading of the game sometimes is inconsistent. And against a team that targets, balls into the box, etc., like Liverpool were doing, his inconsistency was costly. Malik Diouf and Jared Bowen, both off the pace. Diouf struggled to influence the game. He was often isolated, lost, duels, failing to provide the physical or technical spark that we kind of expect from him. Having said that, it was Malik's cross that got us our goal for Thomas Souček. Jared Bowen, usually a reliable outlet, he had a quiet day again. Poor end product and limited impact on Liverpool's backline. People are questioning what is going on with him. Is he carrying a knock? Is he just simply... Players do come out of form. I guess we expect, he's set the bar so high, we kind of expect that from him week in, week out. He hasn't had the best of seasons. He had a spell in between. He had a bad start, a spell in between where he picked up form, but he's kind of fallen away again over the last few games. But beside all that, we're not cut adrift down at the bottom of the league just yet. As I've said, Nottingham Forest, they lost to Brighton, and the defeat at the Amex keeps them only 2 points clear of West Ham, meaning that the gap has not widened and survival for West Ham is still within reach. Brighton beat Forest, which is significant for the relegation picture. Spurs lost to Fulham, our next opponents, which keeps them firmly rooted down at the bottom of the table as well, only 4 points above us. So West Ham can still make up ground on teams around should the results go our way. Fulham's win at Craven Cottage was another twist that perhaps helps our situation. But that's who we're playing next. And we've got to be on it. I think maybe. But then I thought maybe we might have got something against Liverpool. So what do I know? Despite the heavy defeats, the combination of Forest and Spurs dropping points keeps us within striking distance of safety. The league table is remaining quite fluid. And a run of improved defensive and a run of games with an improved defensive organisation could see us get even closer to these two teams should we get the win against Fulham this coming Wednesday. Ain't going to be easy, but if we show the kind of attacking determination we did against Liverpool, but if we have a reset in the way we defend, then there's still a chance that we could pull away from this relegation zone. But we need changes. We have to overcome the problems that affected us early season and improve on defending set pieces. And we need to make use of more players like Dinos, Disasi and Souček with their height when defending corners. We always see this sort of mismatch We always seem to have our big players sort of like defending the goal line instead of defending defending the opposition's tall players. That's what I don't understand that. I don't get that. I guess there's a reason for it. Is it sort of part zonal marking, part man marking? I'm not too sure. Wan-Bissaka, like I said, I think we need better cover for him in midfield. I don't necessarily think Walker Peters is a better player. Maybe Walker Peters offers more structural defending, but I like Wan-Bissaka. But we need players around him to sort of guard him. Did we go with 3 at the back this coming Wednesday against Fulham to give Wan-Bissaka that bit more sort of cover? I don't know. Hermansen has got to assert himself on crosses and organise the defence much better than he has. As I've said, he was brought in over Areola because he was meant to communicate better and command his 18-yard box better. I haven't seen an improvement over Areola, and I maintain, I said it earlier on, Hermansen had the 3 easiest clean sheets you can get or any goalkeeper can hope for. Look, I know 5-2 is a painful scoreline, but it was not a humiliation. West Ham showed that we can create chances and have the players, notably players like Fernandes, who can change a game. The defensive lapses, okay, especially from set pieces and certain positional choices, they're fixable. Through coaching again, we've got to go back to basics yet again and get that fixed. But crucially, results elsewhere means we're very much still in this fight. What changes would you like to see in the next game? Would you like to see Nuno do more up front in the game against Fulham? Maybe bringing on starting with 2 strikers. Should it be a tactical switch, tactical change in our setup in our midfield? Should we go with 3 at the back, or should we stick with 4 at the back? Would you start Wilson rather than having him on the bench over, I don't know, someone like Magassa? Look, after shipping 5 goals, it won't surprise me to see Todibo return to the starting lineup on Wednesday as well. But who for? Disasi, Dinos, or having a back 3? Got to ask a question about Bowen. What's going on there? Will he continue to be picked, or will will Nuno still rely on him? Traore didn't really do much when he came on, but it was interesting to see Bowen switch into a number 10 role, pushing Traore out to the right. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you'd like to see, because all is not lost, West Ham fans. All is not lost. We've still got 10 games to go, 30 points to play for. I'm not suggesting we're going to get 30 points at all. But even if we win 5 of those games, that might just still be enough, But things have got to improve. We've got to sort of have our shooting boots on against Fulham, and we've got to improve immensely on our defensive setup. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Do subscribe. And I'll see you all again for the West Ham Weekly on Monday night.